John, we've already heard a little from Dorothy about some of the decisions that will need to be taken by an incoming Commissioner. Can you tell me what decisions the Commissioner will need to take in relation to finance to ensure there are the resources available to deliver the priorities in the police and crime plan?
Yes, I mean, essentially the decision that's got to be taken by the Commissioner is to agree a balanced budget, and that is going to be a real challenge. Not only to agree the totality of the budget, but also as to where that budget is going to be allocated, not only over policing, but also over crime and crime reduction. A key part of the consideration of the budget is actually also a decision on what the council tax will be next April. How much of an increase will it be? Will it stay the same? Will it reduce? But it's probably that decision on a balanced budget which is the most important and urgent thing for the Commissioner.
And what are the timescales involved in those decisions?
The timescales are very much tighter than would normally be the case for a local authority, for the police authority in previous years. Of particular significance for Cambridgeshire is the level of the budget gap, and the current medium-term financial plan as approved by the authority last February indicates a gap of around about 2.5 million for next year, 2013-14, and similar levels of gap in subsequent years. So the need to identify savings to bridge those gaps or generate additional income is there and is urgent. The Commissioner has to get to grips with all of that and essentially be comfortable with a balanced budget in time to submit a recommendation on council tax increase to the Policing and Crime Panel by the 21st of December. So that's pretty much exactly 1 month after the Commissioner takes up office. So clearly that is going to be a real challenge.
Can you explain some more about the specific challenges around those timescales that a Commissioner will need to be aware of? Yes,
I think balancing the budget, is, as I've said, is the real key thing. And Dorothy has already mentioned that in some of the comments that she's made, particularly around the need to take decisions on organisational support, where essentially the authority has been expecting that savings from organisational support would be there to balance the budget for next year, if not immediately at the beginning of next year, certainly during next year. So the progress of the development of the full business case for that is of great interest. But there are other matters to be considered too. One of those is the level of capital investment that the Commissioner wants to allow, and then secondly how we finance that capital investment, whether we use our reserves or whether we add it to our revenue budget requirement. And perhaps lastly, but also importantly for the Commissioner, how much investment is there going to be in community safety activity, and that decision taken alongside the knowledge that we have at the moment, which is that the money coming from central government, certainly for community safety, is going to significantly reduce. So I think all of that is going to add complexity and challenge to determining the budget. The budget precept council tax recommendation will have to be with the panel before, as I've said, by the 21st of December. That will be before we have final grant figures from government, although they will have issued provisional figures to us. And it will be before city and district councils in Cambridgeshire have determined how many properties the council tax can be raised on. So that they don't usually do that until the new year. So we're going to have to be putting some estimates in there, which might be good, but they might be wrong. All of that, is going to really add, to the work that needs to be done in such a tight time scale. Now, the Policing and Crime Panel has the opportunity to veto the Commissioner's proposal on the precept, and it will be then necessary for the Commissioner to have another look, go through a further iteration, and send back a revised proposal to the panel for their consideration. Sitting over all of that is the requirements of the Localism Act, which actually require that local referenda have to be held if a local authority, and in our case the Police and Crime Commissioner, wants to increase the council tax above what the government refers to as an excessive amount, then the referendum has to take place, and the decision on what the government refers to as the excessive amount is we would expect to know before Christmas, and that's a decision taken by the Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government and the Home Secretary. So, you know, there are external issues which will come to bear in that budget process.
How has the police authority paved the way for an incoming commissioner to make the necessary decisions quickly?
I've already alluded to the possible outsourcing of organisational support services and the development of a full business case for that is underway now. So we would expect that to come back to the authority, to the Commissioner for a final decision in the autumn. So that is work that will take us, we hope will take us forward. We're not sure till actually the work has been done. The second thing to say is that the current medium-term financial plan, as approved by the authority, has a 2% council tax increase assumption for next April. But clearly, potential commissioners may come in on a platform of a certain level of increase or decrease or no increase in the council tax, and so that will need to be clearly factored into the deliberations. A council tax increase above 2% obviously is going to reduce our budget gaps because it will increase income, but a decision that was less than 2 will increase the budget gaps. So again, these are key decisions. The authority already carries, and the force carry out a lot of activities collaboratively, and more areas of business have been collaborated over the last couple of years, and that has saved a lot of money and helped the authority to balance its budget. And work continues to identify those areas and to identify the savings that can be made by, we hope, maintaining the front line and putting some resilience in there, but actually saving some money too. And the authority, and indeed the Commissioner, will need to continue to look for those efficiencies because they will be required, not only for this medium-term financial plan, but for the longer term beyond that, and probably the next comprehensive spending review period. All the discussions and reports that the authority has received that set out this information are obviously on our website and can be easily accessed. And we're pleased to make information available as soon as we can if people ask us.
John, thank you for explaining the complexities of finance.
Thank you.